Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony, and welcome to another edition of B&A Sports Talk. Today I want to talk about the New Orleans Saints because they're at a crossroads right now. Drew Brees is about to retire, and as much as you want to talk about, Tom Brady retiring, Philip Rivers retiring, Drew Brees might retire this year too. And I think the New Orleans Saints should cut bait with him, and here's why. So you have Teddy Bridgewater, you have Taysom Hill. How many years in a row do you have to have that, Taysom Hill coming in for a play? I think you have to let him be free, kind of like Lamar Jackson. They have a chance here to be special on offense. They have a chance to make Taysom Hill into a unique character and maybe go on a playoff run, do something different. Drew Brees, there's only so many years you can have Drew Brees beating a record, hugging his kids at halftime, kissing them with the fans. I think it's growing stale here. You had the Katrina thing that was 15 years ago. That was a while ago. It's really long ago, and I think it's starting to get stale here. The last 3 years, you finally had a good defense, unlike what Drew Brees had in the beginning of, probably in the middle of his stint with the Saints, with all those bad, horrible defenses, the shootout against the Giants, where it was like 49-47 or whatever it was, one of the most high-scoring games. You have a decent defense here. But I think the Drew Brees thing is getting a little stale. I really do. And there's only so much you could squeeze out of the jar. You had the Minnesota Miracle. That sucks. Okay, let's do it the next year. Then you had the horrible pass interference call. Probably should have won that game, but you didn't. And then you blew the game against Minnesota, a game that you were favored 8.5 points in. I think it's run its course. With the Patriots and with the Saints, both lost their first playoff game this year. Both didn't have a bye, and both saw the effects of it. And Drew Brees, he's getting old. He can't quite throw it as far. He's a little bit older. He's about to turn 41 years old. And you want to sign Drew Brees to another contract, let's give it a break. Sean Payton is a good enough offensive mind. I think he's a little bit overrated, but he's going to be able to find a way for Taysom Hill, Teddy Bridgewater to make an amazing offense. And it's time to move on here. You have a bunch of weapons, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara. You can add, a guy in the draft. The Saints have done a pretty good job drafting. You probably need some better corners here. And you need to move. It comes time we need to cut bait. And it's kind of sad with all these quarterbacks leaving. But the New Orleans Saints, they're in a division now with the Falcons, the Buccaneers, the Panthers, where they can play a little bit here. They know they're probably going to win the division next year. With all the talent that they have now, so they can experiment a little more. They can say, we can win this division with 9 wins next year potentially, unless the Falcons do something crazy. But they know we could potentially try some things out next year with a new quarterback, new face, and we can move on. And I think that's what they should do. And yeah, so the next team I want to talk about is the Houston Texans. But before we do that, I want to mention some landing spots for Drew Brees. I was thinking about this earlier. I'm like, okay, so what does Drew Brees need? He needs he needs to play in a dome. That's the first thing. He played his 18 straight games in a dome or something like that, or 18 out of 20 were in a dome, and he was successful. And that's good. He can't play outside. He can't play in the conditions like Chicago. He can't play in conditions like Green Bay. They have Aaron Rodgers. But, he has to play in a situation like that, and it's a team ready to win the Super Bowl. So, first of all, I was thinking, what about the Chargers? Well, Drew Brees hates the Chargers. He said, you're going to rue the day where you get rid of me. So, I don't think that's possible. I think it's a great roster. I think it would be a great fit. But the Chargers, moving to a new stadium, do you want to roll out an old guy a little bit? They might do that with Tom Brady, but I'm not sure. Actually, I know. Drew Brees is probably not going to go to L.A. It's a nice climate, but, he's probably not going to go to L.A. And the second team I was thinking about was, maybe you can have a stint with the Texans or another team in a dome like Atlanta, but they already have quarterbacks. Minnesota already has a quarterback. Potentially you can get rid of Kirk Cousins. Other dome teams don't really work. You had the outside team and Chargers. The dome teams don't work. Then I ran into the Indianapolis Colts, and I was like, So you have a smart offensive guy in Frank Reich who coached Nick Foles to a Super Bowl. You don't really have to pay Jacoby Brissett anymore. That contract you can easily get off. You have a pretty high draft pick this year, so you can draft a guy behind Drew Brees. You have a great offensive line. you have decent enough weapons. Eric Ebron took a step back this year. I think he got injured. But you have T.Y. Hilton. You have Paris Campbell, who they just drafted. I'm pretty sure there's some guys that I'm missing that you Colts fans are going to get me on. But they have decent enough wide receiver talent. They have a running back in Marlon Mack, who could fit Drew Brees real well with the pads catching. And they have a bunch of young talented running back, too. I made a video about who they have at running back. They have a plurality of talent. They've drafted well. And I think that's the best spot for Drew Brees. You have a defense that needs something to fight for. It needs a guy. You know, you brought in Justin Houston. You have Darius Leonard. You drafted a couple years ago with the Sam Darnold trade. You have some depth in at that spot, and you have decent corners. You have Vakia Sin. You draft some later corners. Bring in a guy that you could promote it like, oh, you're playing with Drew Brees. Come in. So I think the Colts are the best spot. And plus, the killer is that you play in the division, the AFC South, Texans, Dome, Jaguars, Florida, Titans. They already beat the Titans this year. So I think that the Houston Texans, the Colts are the best landing spot for Drew Brees. I was also thinking about teams like Miami, the Raiders. I'm not sure. Those teams don't really have a lot of talent with them. I'm not too sure if you can attract Drew Brees like that. And yeah, Drew Brees in LA would be pretty good, but him and John Gruden, he's late in his career. Would they clash? I'm not sure. So let me know, where do you guys think Drew Brees can land in the in the NFL for 2019? I think they're 2020. Oh Jesus, I'm off a year, but there are a lot of spots here. And yeah, I was gonna talk about the Houston Texans, but you know what? I'm gonna leave it at this. Yeah, there are definitely some interesting storylines with Drew Brees here. You know, he's right near Tom Brady with all-time passing yards. So is it going to be like a crawl to the finish to see who can win? Does Drew Brees even care about it? I think all he cares about now is winning another Super Bowl. He doesn't really care about records. He's felt all the records. He's climbed to the highest heights. He wants to win. He wants to keep playing. He feels healthy. And the best spot for him, I believe, is the Colts. Did I miss a team? Did I miss somebody? I don't really think... I think I have a really good point here. Anyway, I'll leave you guys time to type your comments in the comment section below, I guess. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.